Hi, do everyone.
Hi, bro. Yes.
In French, you're saying is the last one is the best one. So are you ready? So we are very glad to be here today because today, this morning, this afternoon, we saw a lot of things about scientific technology. We saw a lot of stuff, benchmark, scoring, etc. So now we chat a little bit about subject. We are sharing something very serious about business. Something you can make money out of it, so it's quite serious, right? So, but you can make fun only. So let's begin. So today, live with Christian Santa, Sister Pierre of the Cegid. We are talking about the Cegid Kunst. And myself working on the software industry for many years with machine learning for beginning. Now with Asian AI is very interesting. I think it's the best moment of my life right here, right moment with a lot of challenging with Gen AI. So very glad to be here today.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Hongtai. Just a quick intro. We want to talk to you about our agentic journey. We started more than a year ago now, and we are based on AG2. Shiwang was supposed to be there, but he couldn't come because of some visa issue. So we're going to try to give you a good understanding that what we've been through, where we are now, next steps, real life production, real issues, of course, with security and everything. Thank you.
So let's start. First part of this talk, we are talking about AG2. The founder name is Autogen, if you know about this. It's open source Asian Ops. Nguyen is the co-founder of Autogen. He's not here today, so we are very honored to present Autogen for this talk. It's some basic feature of the Autogen for AG2. So you can see that is first one is the precipitation, computation, and orchestration. So it means one is the platform. You can define roles, behavior, vision, very easily way, very intuitive way with your code. So you can define whatever you want, maybe a sample agent with assistant with an directly, or more complicated with the tools, or code API, MCP, whatever. You can define something more complex like the code generation for engineering, for code execution as well. So you can see this morning about some agent to judge agent evaluation. So you can define also agent to evaluate the result of other agent as well. You can define also some kind of manager to orchestrator or another agent to execution. It's very, very creative. Also in the platform, you can see we had a lot of built-in conversation pattern, like one-to-one, because two agents, but one-to-one, one agent is the user agent to get the input from user, another agent is a your agent. You can do whatever you want. Or more complex, like the workflow agent or group agent to orchestrate many agents together. Or another example, you can see you can define the sequence agent. It means you can ask each agent to answer your question and to choose the best one. Yeah, right? So very, very, very clever. And the first one we saw recently about church agent, and now is the proof of where we're leading on the agent platform is we can provide many configuration publicity to define human in loop. It means you can ask the human to clarify your question if not clear, if not enough, and to continue the reasoning if necessary. Another entry point to stop reasoning, to ask question to user to answer question. So it's very, very important inside of the human in loop is important for the AG2.
If I may, just for you to understand, G2 is a really mature framework. It has been coming from Flame at the real beginning. It was part of Microsoft as Autogen, and is now coming part of Microsoft agent orchestration engine next to semantic kernel. So now it has been forked, and Shiwang moved to DeepMind in Google. So they are now setting up a proper open source. So it's a open source framework, really mature, and that you can really use in many of the cases that are in coming now or already in your backlog.
Yeah, exactly. So I can show you here an example. You can set up your agent with AutoGen in 3 minutes. What is very basic, very intuitive way. First one, you can download by instant AG2, OpenAI, or Gemini, whatever you want from PyPy repository. And from that, you can define some management code to define the co-agent. Here you can see some basic concepts. First one is NNM configuration, config. It means, you can hear examples, you can call the API OpenAI model, but you can call another kind of model like Gemini or Llama, whatever, or DeepSeek set up on the local machine, which will work also. It is very different dependencies with the NNM model, okay? And the second part is here, you can define the conversation agent. It means you can create an equation and you put them together. It's up to you to define what is your the ways the agent interact with them. Okay, so it's very powerful. And of course, the last one, you can define is the question I want to ask and what is how many time agent is thinking about to give me back the answer, etc. And you send the message, send the question, and get the result. And the right hand here, you can see some interaction between agents to talk together to fire out the question, answer the question.
And probably one of the key features we found in AutoGen G2 now is the code execution and generation. So you can have agents that are writing code, some that are executing one. You have human in the loop. You have many orchestration you can do, and this is just the basic example you're doing. Okay, so this is just a way to start.
Exactly. So you can deep dive a little bit about the pattern you can do with AG2. So you can see here, you can define some agent with assistant to call NM, work with NM directly, or you can have agent with tools. It means you can call the API. In the vocabulary of the AG2 is called skill, but a kind of tool to call with API of the product, for example. You can customize the agent with the code of Python or whatever, and beyond Visual Do. And on the right-hand side, you can manage pattern. You can do this. You can join chart to define many detection with agent. You can hierarchical chart to define one agent is the manager and responsive to pass another agent, etc. So it's very flexible to define whatever you want. It's very powerful. So it depends on your use case, what are you needing, and you define your agent to get your best answer what you want.
And she won't put a lot of knowledge in those conversations because he has been working for it for about 2 years now. And there was a lot of project in San Francisco around and at Microsoft that could help him improving the communication between the agents. So when Altai mentioned skills, it's because it was before everybody was calling it tools. So it was really there, but now they're implementing MCP, of course. They are also implementing A2A. They're implementing end-of. I mean, all the concepts you see, they are quickly implemented here. And you have to see it differently from Longchain or LangGraph, which are toolbox. This is really an orchestration framework.
Exactly. So it's open source. It's written new. It's very active open source communities. For example, last year we have 20 version released in a year. It's very credible. We are 20,000 active agent builder around many domains different, education, health, and now today we talk about student pools. One application to show that, oh yes, it can go to production on the production grade with the AG2. It's very interesting. And inside the communities, we have a lot of the ecosystem. For example, interaction of AG2 with the Azure nodes for monitoring interaction with agent, Longchain, mem0 to memory to handle your memory is very important for agent execution, etc. So it's very useful, and of course that's why we choose AG2 for this case of Cegid pools. So the second part, we talk about Cegid pools. One application we are building on Cegid with AG2. So first, for mine, it's really quick. Getting so boring about this Cegid. To talk about a little about Cegid. Is we are a leader of the SaaS in France and in Europe now. We're serving 7 150,000 clients. So we are a big company now. We have big revenues, estimate 1 billion this year, mostly. So we are a big company, but we still having a startups myself. The full start, we have a data lab. We are sponsor of the 7 startup here in Sutton. So Sutton here around here is our home, so we know very well here. We are very glad to use Asian from beginning with Kissan Tantas. Yeah, it's beginning with the project with Asian. It's very important to see that Asian and Architan and Gen AI is something, it's a game changer for the software development on Cegid and etc.
Okay.
So let's talk about the one solution, one product between the core products of Cegid. It's called Cegid Business. It's a product that helps the people, entrepreneur, small business to handle every data, invoice, quote, check the payment easily, manage customer, supplier, order, and the cloud pay access. So very useful. It's not expensive. You can buy it if you want. We have real-time dashboards and KPI with very powerful alert and many functional event testing to help the shape of company or entrepreneur to deal with administrative tasks currently every day. So this is why maybe you can talk about why this product is very best candidate for the funds.
Yeah. Okay. So we are serving many different type of companies, like big companies and really small ones. We are the main leaders in CPAs, which is Certified Professional Accountants. So we have roughly 1.3 million companies inside Cegid small businesses. And we find out that with LLMs capable of doing action, so agents, now he was not called agent at the time, it was a good idea to change the way small businesses are going to talk to the machine and solve edge cases that we have, and a lot of edge cases that were difficult for us to solve and to develop because there was so many different demands from all those companies. So we were working with Microsoft in a way to leverage the LLM and to leverage our APIs. And we had a lot of APIs on the small business side. And so we were looking for a framework, or we were looking for a way to deploy those APIs through LLM and through, at the time it was more a chatbot than agent, autonomous agents. Now it's autonomous agents. And so we looked at the best framework we could find, and it was AutoGen. So that's where the story started.
Yeah, exactly. So, Cegid Business Assistant, we like to explain another way, to give another way to user to explain the task. That's the classical way, traditional way to use application by menu, by button, is now obsolete. You are thinking about new way. So, it means the user can ask anything by chat, by natural language. It changed very much. So that's why we would like to put in the hand of the user a new experience with the NLM and with the chat to ask any information they need. And the information, of course, it comes from the data from production, from data from API. So we are using AG2 because it's very powerful, etc. So you can take it about later, but it's the main point about Cegid Business Assistant. You can write here. We can now do the demo, but it's right here. You can see there's some small interface. The user can ask any question on the text box as you need. Or, for example, what is the latest in my invoice not paid yet? What is the most important supplier we are dealing with? What is the most important item I have to buy last year, for example? Or give me the comparison of the financial result this year and comparing for the last year. A lot of things the human user can do with the chat in natural language directly. So, of course, you can provide also some predefined question. It's very interesting because it's the idea that when you first come to the system, the user don't know what to ask, basically. So, provide some predefined question. You can just click it and play with instead of ask question to yourself. Okay. You can define the workflow selection. This means you can select domain to answer the question. Which you choose your domain. So workflow, it means we focus on some kind of agent fits the best to answer the question. This is the key. Okay, and here you can access a history of question, and you can give access to limit control. This means we have the quota because you have to pay, and in the end, so you have to control to how many requests per day per user have to allow to use, and of course you have to after the question, after the answer, you provide some recommendation for next action. It's very important to show that if you continue to use the system, you guide them to use the next question, etc.
So the challenges we were facing here were two types of challenges. First of all, we wanted the product managers to design the user experience. So what we did, we used the framework on top of AG2 to define the agents. That's where we put them in a domain. Then we asked them to regroup them by teams, and the team is taking care of a subject, so it's a group of agents inside the domain. And then we try to find a recommendation, the best recommendation based on the answer. And in order to provide a result to the user in the interface, we are generating the results with an LLM. So we are doing what we call GenUI. We are also doing workflows, and we are putting together agents that are talking to each other, consuming APIs, and now we are moving to MCP, of course, because it's a better way to express your APIs, but it's exactly the same mechanism. And we've been also dealing with security and authentication and authorization, of course. So the framework is not responsible for bringing those information. It's really the MCP server or the API that are dealing with it, the delegation. So to give you a rough idea. And this we managed to put on production in April. It was after roughly 8 months of work, making sure that it was working and we were having enough observability. This is key. Also, we need to make sure that we have value for the users and they have valuable answers. And so also to monitor what they were asking in order to improve over the night what they were doing. That was the challenge we managed to cover in 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just focus about how we build the agent now. VS last way we build the software classic. Before you have to PM product manager to define the specification spec, to pass R&D side to developer to implement and QA and so on to cloud to deploy. So this chain is quite very long and very obsolete. With the agent and the conversational system, we need something more quicker, more faster to delivery. So that's why we for beginning we put the PM. It's here the PM. The question is we put this idea. We put the PM product manager in the center of the process. So it's up to him to define the agent himself. Okay, so of course we provide the tool necessary to help them. He's not a technical profile. He cannot write a code. Okay, so but that's enough. Now with the GOSIM agent, you can just define the natural language, the prompts you are needing, and from that, the agent is doing it himself. With the code, dealing with the stuff, etc. So it's very different. It's a big difference with now and before.
Yeah, the key point you have to understand is using natural language to describe software means that you have to put the project manager who has business knowledge closer to the technique. And the phase we used to have between the product owners, lead developers, is shrinking, and now it's more relation with, I will call it product engineer, people who are doing things because they have the right tools and the right framework to do things in natural language.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So let's look a little bit about how we do with Cegid business assistant. So you can see the UI before. And Cegid is a plain framework, and you can build many agents as you want. So you can see you can two group of agents, the business agent and the system agent. So for the case of Cegid business, you have a purchase agent to dealing with every invoice and purchase, sales agent for dealing with any invoice and sale, and you have the special agent for financial analysis. Okay, so on the right you can see the system agent. This means this agent will be common on many products. So you can see you can agent for recommendation to provide the recommendation after your answer. The safety guardrail to verify that the question is not provided by some, I don't know, AI security stuff. We had the planning agent to explain what is step one by one to answer your question. It's very interesting to show up its reasoning to end user when shows them to help them to understand what is happening. So we talked about the trust recently, but one factor of trust, I think, to scalability, to explain to your agent, to the user, to how it's work, to make him trust how the agent is working. It's a very key value.
Yeah, it's key to understand that people will only adopt your solution if they understand what the solution is doing. I mean, just believing in a black box that decides for you and you put all the decision on the agent side won't work, at least now. So you have to make sure that people understand and can, if you put human in the loop, for example, say, okay, every transfer from one account to another of €100, I want to approve it before. I mean, those kind of rules we are setting up in order to make sure that we can have the agents adopted by humans. And this is key now, I think.
Exactly. So at the end, of course, you always need to connect with the Cegid product with the secure API. The secure API is built for NLM, for agent. No, it's not the agent. Not the same API we're doing usually. So let's have a little look about how it's looking. So the question is asked. You go to the AG2, we analyze the question, go to planning to explain what is the step necessary to execute, and to pass the execution as a group chat agent. You can see here, you are already a nested pattern with the sequence and the group chat. It's why I say that it's very powerful AG2. So on group chat, we can group the business agent with a chain group chat and finish the financial analysis. Of course, after you ask the business agent to working, you get gather an answer, and we summarize the answer, and to put the recommendation to ask what is the next question you need to ask. And the design agent is mean sometimes we need to refine output to make its presentation like table, graphic, whatever. So you have to graphic to output assistant UI.
Graph, tables, text, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, we can get output the result on the right. So that is for the assistant business. So what's next? I think we are really living is a very famous, very exciting moment of this, right? So we are doing is the first, it's very interesting, but it's just the beginning. After that, we are dealing with. We can see that with the GenUI, the vibing code we saw this afternoon, we can do anything interesting. For example, generating the interface to present the output or getting the input dynamically. Instead of just asking questions, you can just NLM to put in the form. It's much more comfortable for user. For example, instead to ask a question, okay? And we would like to building some ADK, street ADK. ADK is the Agent Development Kit, not SDK anymore. So it's something because we believe that it's up to PM to build to agent. So it's not technical profile. It's very business profile with many knowledge about this, but which bringing up the tools to help them define agent properly, quickly. They can implement themselves, the agent, etc. So of course, we can clone this success story about another domain with many products and many domains. We are studied on many domains, retail, accounting, CP, SB. Some of this, the very small business, human resources, many cases, many domains you can do it with. And of course, we not limit only for chat. We can use with voice or email, for example, to send an email to trigger the agent, or with even the so many things we can do right now and on the near future to make the assistant more powerful and more useful in the hand of user.
Yeah, so we are trying, of course, to put the product manager at the heart of the system, but we're also trying to make sure that they can receive the help of the engineers to finish, because sometimes just the last mile is too complicated so far. We all know this with Cursor, Windsurf, Bolt. I mean, you can do things without being an engineer, but sometimes it's difficult to finish. So that's the main idea, to put them together. And then Now we're investigating, of course, every multimodal ways of interacting between the machine and the user. Depending on the user, a small business or bigger companies, they will react differently and they will provide different tools to their clients. Thank you.
Thank you.